in procurement, program and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Business Zone with
Crystal
and Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. And today, folks, we're going to have an amazing show. We've got a very special guest that's coming in later, which my co-host Crystal will talk about. But in the meantime, Crystal, how have you been?
Oh, this is July, so you know what that means, right? I have been crazy busy, Gilbert, but it's been wonderful. We're doing some great stuff with the kids with Biz Camp, and they're having a good time, and they're excited about starting their own business, and we're in the thick of things. We are teaching how to put together that business pitch deck. So all by itself, that's interesting. So today I covered finance. So how
I
to
love
price
that.
product, how to calculate their contribution margin.
Oh, I love that. I love it. I can't wait to hear them present on that.
I know. So they are excited. At first, though, when you bring the financials in, that's when everything comes to play. The real deal, right? It is no joke. We're in this to start a business. And so it becomes a little interesting for them. Wait a minute. I'm trying to get my background right. It becomes a little interesting because up until this point, they have been just kind of lollygagging around thinking that we're playing game, that we're asking for the homework, and the homework layers on top of the homework, right? And there's a reason for that. So they're not quite sure, until I start talking about financials. Then they're like, "Oh wait, Miss Crystal, real right now? What are you talking about?"
Yeah, this is for real. This is serious, man. And I'm glad they're taking it seriously because, as we know, many of our adult entrepreneurs, they really don't take the financial aspect of their business that seriously because they're thinking, I don't need to worry about that. My bookkeeper will take care of it, or my accountant will take care of it. That's not how it works. So these younger entrepreneurs, they'll understand the value of that and the value of not commingling their funds. So I like that.
Right, exactly. And so they're excited. So today actually is sale day. So they're out there selling, and because some of the kids, they don't have a vast network, or their parents don't have a vast network. So I'm setting up a sale day tomorrow at the park with the tennis kids.
Oh, wow. That's
And
good.
so there are 4 kids that are in the program that are from the tennis program. So I invited some of the other kids to come over, and so they'll sell. But I told them, I said, all I'm doing is giving you the space. It's up to you guys to get the people that are there to buy from you. So this is where we get to see your selling skill sets.
Right.
And so you have to do what you need to do to make sure that you get people to come and buy your product. So it should be fun tomorrow. So we should see.
That's great. I love what you're doing with the kids, Crystal.
Thank you.
You've done such a phenomenal job with these young entrepreneurs over the years, and each year I see where things are getting much better and better. The kids, you're getting a larger pool of and enrollees in the program. So I really love that, and on top of that, you're taking these guys to championship competition, where they're coming in first, second, and third position. So I'm loving it.
And so this week we took them to a junior achievement finance park. So
Yes.
junior achievement, and we haven't been able to do that since the pandemic because of the pandemic, right? So this is our
Yes.
very first time doing it
Hmm.
since 20, because we went virtual 2020. So
Yeah.
2019 was our last physical in-person one. So the kids, Finance Park is like taking a real life here, giving you your persona, your scenario. You
Yeah.
college, you got a degree, you got school loans, you got one child, you have a car, you got a mortgage, you got a car loan, you got all of that sort of stuff. And this
Yeah.
is how much money you make. Now we got to see how we
Oh,
manage that money all throughout the
I
day.
love it. So
Yeah,
it's
so
like budgeting, right? I
it's
love it.
budgeting. It's budgeting. And they're so funny because one of the kids said, "Oh my God, I am going to apologize to my mother. Oh, you pay this much money every month? Cell phones cost $200 a month?"
See, that's good. I like that though, because it gives them the opportunity to see what type of expenses are included in the business and in the homes and how you got to juggle. I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
Love it,
so
Chris.
that's what they did this week. This week. So, some of the parents went with us, and they were like, "Oh my God, I had no idea that it was going to be this." And yeah, this is the real deal. This
Yeah.
is we want the kids, because as business owners, they got to figure out how they're going to
Yeah.
incorporate in um their own expenses, their own financial
Mm-hmm.
obligations, in addition
Yeah.
to taking care of the business itself and using that profit in order to take care of themselves personally. So,
And when you're an entrepreneur, um, um, income and expenses are two-dimensional because you have the income and expenses for the business that you got to manage, and then you got income and expenses for your personal life where you got to
right,
manage that as well. So that is
right.
so great. That's so great that you're doing that.
Yeah, so that's a little bit different when you just learning about all this stuff. But they get it like right away. Our adults really sometimes don't get it, but the kids,
Yeah.
like, oh my
Yeah.
God. I said, I can't have no children yet, not until I got a good job
I
or a
love
really
it.
good business.
I love it. I love it. For those of you who are just tuning in, this is the Business Zone with Coach Crystal and Coach Gilbert Buchanan. We're on every Friday from 3 to 4. If we have a special guest, then we may extend it to 4:30, depending on how interesting that guest is. So today's guest, I'm sure, is going to be super interesting. So we will extend our show today until
Yeah, we're on
4:30.
two continents today.
That's
We got
right.
someone from Canada and the United States, and not Vancouver, not the west part of Canada. We done went all the way to the East Coast.
Real deep, real deep.
So this is
so,
gonna be fun.
so it's going to be fun, folks. And for those of you, we're broadcast live on YouTube as well as on Facebook Live. You can go there and you can subscribe. And Crystal, tell them how they can subscribe to our
So
show.
you can go on over to our YouTube channel, The Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert, and click that subscribe button, and you will get a notification every week when we come on. We have been on the air this year, 6 years, 6 years, right?
6 years, man. This is our anniversary month.
Right, July 7th, July 8th was when we 7th, I think, when we kicked off the show
Yep.
6 years ago, and it's been going pretty strong. And we're excited to be here, and we're excited to share our knowledge. And you guys literally get a coaching from us. If you any of you know us, have had us as your coach. So sometimes on the Business Zone, we actually do a coaching session. Today, though, we're gonna have a guest that's going to do a coaching session, because she's a consultant and coach as well, and she is a corporate trainer, as well as she specializes in business communication, which is so important to the growth of your business. So there's so many pieces that go along with running a business. It's not just having that product.
And folks, just so you know, in as our 6 year anniversary, we have over 2,000 shows that we've done so far, and over 500 videos on YouTube that you can check out. So if you want to check out any of our past shows, feel free to go to YouTube and type The Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert, and you'll see all kinds of any topic you want. You can put it in that search window, and we've done a show on that. So just check it out, guys. Check it out.
Just check it out. Yeah. So that's kind of what my week was like. But I did have an opportunity last night. Tanya Mackey, Tanya
Oh
Mackey, she's
yes.
the
Oh yes.
wealth accelerator consultant out there.
Yeah.
And so she has a group organization called Women Worthy of Wealth. And
Mm-hmm.
so I spoke last year for them, and I talked about creating multiple revenue streams. That's my thing, right? Making sure you got enough money coming in. And I
Mm-hmm.
always tell financial people, you're a financial person comes up to you and they're like, oh, okay, you need to have insurance, you need to have all your risk management in place, right? And the people are like, I can't afford that. And so I told Tanya a long time ago, I said, Tanya, what would make it even what would make your business and your job easier is to help the people that you're marketing to, your target market, understand if they brought in more money, then they could purchase your products with ease and they wouldn't
Mhm.
run from you.
Yes, yes, yes.
Right, because it's when you come to them and you say, oh yes, you can afford, they're like, no, I can't. My budget doesn't say I can afford anything else. So
Yeah,
I told her. So she created this women's group, and she has brought these women together and literally changed their financial a picture.
I
So
love that.
several women have paid off their homes.
I
Some
love it.
have bought homes. They've paid off their cars. They've created their emergency fund. They've created 1 year emergency funds, 2 year emergency funds. They're traveling. And a lot of them have now, the last time I spoke, I think there was like 3 or 4 women that actually, Tanya said the next day, Crystal, they were already creating their new revenue
I
streams.
love that. I
Yeah.
love that.
So that was, and now last night I spoke on networking, um, to expand your capacity, and then where you could actually make money online with this now bigger, broader network. And I
Hmm.
showed them how they could make money and where they could go to make that money, and how much money was being made actually digitally. So
Oh
they were
wow.
thrilled. And then a little bit, I threw in a little cash flow at the
Oh,
end.
for sure,
For
we got to
sure.
throw in some cash flow in there.
So how to flow that cash,
That's
man? Because if
right,
you
man.
can't flow your cash, that's it. You dry up and you die. So
If
that
you
was what.
if you can't flow that cash in your business, it's like not having good blood flow in your body. Okay, you gotta have that cash flow, man.
But you got to have the cash, right? So I
Yeah,
was showing
yeah,
them how to make the money, and a lot of times that when you tell somebody they can do it online, they're like, "But I don't have the followers." Okay, well, let's eliminate that excuse and
yeah,
let me show you how you build those followers.
yeah,
So I do an exercise whenever I teach that, and I don't teach it often, but every now and then I have an opportunity to speak on that. So I told everyone to go on to my Facebook page, and a lot of them did not know me. I said,
yeah,
go on my Facebook page, connect and to my Facebook page, and see how many mutual contacts we have.
yeah.
And they did. They're like, one lady said, I don't even know you, and we got 75 people in common.
See, see, that's what I'm talking about, man. In business, you don't know what you don't know.
Right. She's like, how is that possible? I've never, until today, I've never even heard of you. We got 75 people in common. And then we had people like Ardina was there. So Ardina and I got, almost close to 200 people in common.
Wow, wow.
So that was interesting. They got a big kick out of that.
I wonder if we did a match, Crystal, how many people together we would have in common? I wonder how many, huh?
Yeah, we have a lot of people in common because we actually teach and train some of the
Yes,
same people, right? So we got a lot of
yes,
people in common. But and as we've been doing the show, we've actually got more people in common today than we probably
yes,
did when I first met you. When I first
yes.
met you, we probably had Well, we still had significant. I
Yeah.
would say when I first met you, we might have had 25 people in common. But
Hmm.
now I got about 3,000 people on my Facebook page, and I would
Woo wee!
imagine but probably about 25% of that we probably have in common.
That's true. That is true. That is true. I think we should have Tanya Mackey back on this program as a guest, so she can talk a little bit about those
Oh, she
programs.
would love to. She would love to.
Yeah,
She
I
has
think.
really been making an impact and a change in these women's
Yeah,
lives, and they speak with more confidence because Greg, our buddy always comes on and he says he helps you get in touch with your money to get to know what your money is doing, how
that's
your money
right.
is, and he says, and when you're more in touch with your money, you're more in touch with yourself. So
That's
yeah.
right. Become more familiar with your money, okay? And for
So
those of you who are out there listening today to this show, The Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert, you too, as an entrepreneur, can be on this show as a guest. Just give us a call or send us an email to Crystal. You'll put the email in the chat, right?
I
And
will. I
and
will.
you guys can just send us a request, and we will have you on this show so you can speak about your business, you can promote your business, you can get interviewed by us, and you'll be able to share your information to the world because we're reaching
Yeah.
the world right now. So this is a good thing for all of you entrepreneurs.
And it's important that you take time out of you, especially our small business owners. It's so important that you take time out of your busy schedule and learn more about business so that you can make sure that you're on top of the things and not just working in your business, you're working on your business at the same
Mm-hmm.
time. That
Yeah,
is so important that most people work on their business and they're working in their business and not on their business. So
so today, Crystal, we have a new generation of women in business here. We want to talk to her and see
yeah, so we're gonna
what.
bring on our guests. So new generation of women, just like I have noticed, Gilbert, and women are your business, your favorite,
My target demographic, right?
your target demographic. And I have noticed that women take a different view at running their business. Of course, it's
Oh
more
yeah,
emotionally connected,
oh yeah,
and they usually have a different purpose, right?
yeah.
Generally, to make sure that if they're in business for themselves, they can have more time with their children,
Mm-hmm.
and be available for their children at the same time being able to
Uh-huh.
contribute to their household. So a lot
Mm-hmm.
of times that's very important. Where sometimes men are in it just for the money,
Yeah,
and their egos get caught up in it, and
yeah.
so they're not quite. We build businesses for our family, I think,
Right.
or at least today's women are. I think they have a different. So you may have a different thought
Well,
process on that. Being a man.
well, well. But beside the fact that my women clients pay me on time and they do what I ask them to do when I give them instructions to do certain things within their business. They do it without challenging or questioning or fighting about it, like many of my male customers. But they also understand budgeting just like they do budgeting in the household. They make a dollar stretch to take care of a lot of things in the household. They do the same in business because many female entrepreneurs, only 4% of them are getting government contracts. Only 4% of them are getting business loans from a bank. And only
Mm.
7% of them are being invested by investors. So, because of those things, they have to be creative. They have to make things work. So now you know why I'm drawn to that target demographic, right? I want to change
And it's
those
true.
numbers.
I mean, if any of us, we came from single parent. I came from a single family home, and my mom, boy, she could manage those dollars.
Oh,
She
yeah.
squeezed the heck out of a coin,
Oh, yeah.
not a dollar, but a coin.
Yeah. And you know what my mom used to be good at?
What?
When we come home from school, there's no food there, right? She
Right.
just goes she just goes in the cupboard in the pantry and she whips all kinds of stuff together. No, there's nothing in there, but she whips some things together, and before you know it, we got dinner. I'm going, what? How do you do that? I didn't see anything in the the pantry. They do the same thing in business. They whip some things together and make it work. So
Right, exactly. Just out of it's like magic. It's like mom, wow. Yeah,
yeah,
moms are magic, man.
I'm
So
telling you.
and I see that magic with my women business owners. Not to say that guys don't. I'm
Yeah,
just saying that women in there's a new generation of women in business, especially
yeah,
our younger business owners. They're really coming differently because a lot of them, you know, in our age group or my age group, we spent time in corporate America. So we were
yeah,
kind of shaped by corporate America, right?
yes,
But young women now are coming out of college. They may do a year or two working for somebody, but other than
hmm,
that, they out there on their own and they just doing some things. And if they are working for someone, they're working so that they can cover their expenses until they
yeah,
actually can work full time in your business. So
yeah.
that's what I'm just saying. It's a different mindset out there. So with that, we're going to bring on this new generation of one of individuals in this new business world, and we have Greg that's online. So Greg, hey, good to see you.
Hey, Greg,
So
how you doing, sir?
with that, we're going to bring on our guest, and I am going to shift us a little bit so that we can get her on. There
There
we
we
go.
go.
I think I'm gonna do it that way. So, how are you, Miss Tanya Legault? Is that how you pronounce it?
You can actually pronounce it like the Lego blocks. So Tanya Legault.
Oh,
Okay,
Legault,
Legault. Okay.
Legault.
Well,
Welcome to the business zone, Miss Tanya Legault.
we
Thank
are
you
so
so
happy to
much.
have you. Tanya comes all the way from Quebec, Canada.
All
As a
right.
guest, so
That's
we're
right,
kind of
guys.
excited.
That's right, guys. Our show is now being broadcast in another country, Canada. Our friends up north.
Intentionally.
Exactly. You are now the international business zone.
Hey, there we
Yes,
go. I love it. I love it. The international business zone. I love it.
we like it. So I was sharing with Tanya that I actually come from that. Not from Canada, but I was right on the cusp of Canada. I was born in Buffalo, New York, born and raised in Buffalo, New York. So um, that was there was a lot of Canadians in our city all the time. In fact, I think I have relatives that are married to Canadian women. And yes, Greg, you do need your passport.
I love it. I love it.
So, welcome, Tanya. So, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, and how's it to live in Quebec?
So thank you both, Crystal and Gilbert, for having me. My name is Tanya. I am based out of Montreal, Quebec, Canada. So East Coast represent on this call. I am born and raised in Montreal. So the warmth of the summer is normal to us, and I can't say that the winter is normal to us, because I myself would love in California when it's super chilly here and there's snowbanks that cover the front yard. Um, so my company is called Top Tier Consulting. I specialize in business communication, and I just love what you guys were talking about before the call, and it's that, you know, there's different areas to the business, and the same thing goes with communication. Just like Crystal teaches that financial, like, literacy, and that you, Gilbert, you know, will create that business infrastructure. With communication, we've got two aspects to it. So you've got your internal communication, where you're talking to your team, talking to your colleagues, flowing that information amongst everyone. And then you've got your external communication, where you're talking to these clients. And, you know,
Mhm.
Gilbert, you talked about the relationship that you have also with clients. What's that experience like? Is it pleasant doing business with your organization? And so that, in a nutshell, is the realm of the work I do, truly looking at communication from both sides, essentially of the business, you'll speak to your customers is not the way you will necessarily speak to your teammates. However, it may be if you have like this kind of open door policy, you might be super candid and approachable to your clients and treat your staff and your team the same way.
I love it. I love it.
And especially today, because I don't know what's happening in Canada, but I do know here in America we having problems with employer-employee relations, and a lot
Yes.
of times it's because the employees are not feeling appreciated, and the communication is more dictatorship versus we're here to help and work and grow the business together.
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. So, how long have you been the owner of Top Tier Consulting, Tanya?
So it's a new venture. It's a post-pandemic enterprise
Mm.
for all the small business owners out there. I salute you. I am down there in the weeds with you in the trenches, making our way into this entrepreneurial world. I started it this spring. So kind of grassrooting, it's taking shape, kind of like that newborn child that is kind of aging into its space here. And it's been a fabulous ride. Crystal talked about networking. Absolutely. Even business of communication, I am definitely out there with everyone. So I fully support those initiatives from T. Um, it's a fabulous way to get on your business. Also, refine your sales pitch because to a multitude of individuals, you get to discover what doesn't, what is landing accurately, what is not. If you just a pointer for the people, if you getting the deer in the headlights look, the pitch ain't working. They ain't buying what you're selling. So that's where communication is art because there's no magic formula. You have to voice. However, there are certain elements that you can easily implement to facilitate that communication.
Beautiful.
So did you were you working in this space prior to what
The
was the
pandemic.
motivation to start your own business actually?
Perfect. That's a great question. That infamous why. So as I
Yeah, the
mentioned,
why.
it's a post-pandemic business. So in Canada, we had those infamous lockdowns and curfews, and so a lot of organizations were not adapting their marketing for that pandemic world. We were still being recycled pre-pandemic marketing materials, things like, hey, come and join us with your family and have a great get together. Are you kidding? So I'm thinking, oh, they didn't get the memo. And so that didn't land well. There was no value in what they were advertising. And also, I would say it was almost like bad PR because if you can be empathetic to what we've experienced, which is a global pandemic, you're coming
Mhm.
off as a little bit selfish or ignorant. And to your point, Gilbert, you mentioned before, you don't know what you don't know, and so accusation. However, if you are being mindful of that and you take awareness that, oh, maybe I should change my manners, the world has changed, then you can continue to add value to your customers, acquire new ones, etc. So that was the first flag for this business creation. And the second one was a little bit to what Crystal mentioned before with the employee employer relations in that movement of the great resignation occurring. And so you had firms, we're hiring, come work for us. Yet when you come to websites, the career page is nowhere to be found. On the career page, if you find it buried under some links, you have no idea what this organization offers. And so you're there thinking, why should I go work with you? And mentioning before, why not work myself. And so it opened discussion for me. And I thought, well, if organizations, whether it's small with 3 employees or large with thousands of employees, perhaps they ought to know how to interact with this post-pandemic work. So that's why I created Top Tier Consulting, because as the name, let's perform at our top level. You know, some organizations might be operating at 30% of their potential, perhaps 70, but definitely money is being left on the table. And as Chris before, you gotta know how to manage your money.
That's
And
right.
so money on the table, let's grab it. You know, it's there for the taking. So by doing some small tweaks, we're able to up to that 100%. And then who knows, you might be 105, 110%. Heck, even one beautiful momentum that you'll build.
Right. He who knows how to count his own money gets to keep it, right?
Absolutely.
So do you think, Tanya, that, I mean, we are living in a new world, and remote is going to be part of that new world, whether the old guard, like it or not. But I know I read every single day how more seasoned, older company owners and CEOs and are having a real hard time with this, and they're being very demanding on the other side. They're not seeing, you're not going to connect with this new employee person who finds that remote work is actually more protective.
Absolutely. It's a whole new dynamic. And you know what, Crystal? It's probably even amplified by already what existed in the workforce, which was generations all operating and contributing to an organization at the same time. So already you had people with different upbringings, different experiences, different methods to working. And then you had the new blood coming in of, I was told this in college, or parents brought me up in this manner. And so that also, we were talking about employer-employee conflicts. However, sometimes there might be conflict in team due to these generational gaps. And then you remote work on top of that. You add the technological learning curve, let's call it that, in order to manage this remote work. And you get kind of this melting pot of frustration, disagreements, etc. And it becomes a little slippery to navigate, because you kind of don't know where you don't know how to navigate this. There's no kind of structure. We just have to come back to the basics. How do you manage all these generations, all this remote work? Well, take a step back. And these entrepreneurs, these CEOs that are having difficulty adjusting, take the CEO hat off for one moment and recognize all the individuals in the organization are human beings. And so as a human, do we want to have someone breathing down our neck? Not so much. I have my own mouth and nose. I can breathe on my own. Thank you very much. And then, you'll kind of develop that empathy to say, wow, let me apply that golden rule. Would I want to be treated in this manner if the roles were reversed? Because if you've been an entrepreneur for so long, or a business manager, you might have lost sight what it's like to be in a level position or in that managerial position where you have a small team to manage that are confiding in you, who are having hardships they've never faced before. And so you can get to a place of understanding, because as both of you were talking about before, ego really gets in the way. This whole attitude of, I'm the boss, I will tell you what's right. However, if the new kids on the block are saying, hey, for the technology, perhaps we should use this tool, well, it might be a novelty for the business owner who is more seasoned but accustomed to face interactions. So just, come together, have this exchange. It comes back to that candor. If we're having ego dictation, we're not going to go very far, except people are because they see that it's a dead end road here. Just hop on to the next path that leads to much and greener pastures, because that's the other side of things all around. And if this podcast is any indication, is available internationally as well.
That's right.
Wow,
That's
that
right.
is just such a mouthful, because you see that the old guard is just not. It's like we want a global world, we want to be futuristic, but we still want to hold on, or some of them want to hold on to techniques and strategies that no longer fit in this world that we live in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So Tanya, were you working for a large corporation before you entered into your own business?
I was, like you guys, came out of school, worked within a enterprise, and then got recruited by a large multinational, worked there for several years, grew up in the corporate ladder, taking on more responsibility, managing teams, and that was okay, as you're navigating life, learning these different lessons, acquiring experience. And then at a certain point, I hit a wall, because you develop your own talent, you sharpen your skills, and you gain some confidence about the professional you are. And then when you're being told, oh, you have to dial that down on that skill, we don't need that skill so much, we need this skill, which is not in your wheelhouse, but all of a sudden, given the international competition, you need to sell anything when I'm dealing with recruitment or onboarding, or something a little more on the soft skills. And so I thought, you know what, I'm kind of tired of this song and dance. Let's see if there's another song playing elsewhere. And so I joined the public. This went out.
I love that.
Another song that you can dance to, right?
I love that.
You gotta keep it, That's what it's all about. And so I joined the public sector. So complete, 180, because here you're talking government, you're talking academic institutions, you're talking also like high level impact. If you work at a hospital, there is serious, if you don't do your work correctly, someone's life is legit, perhaps in jeopardy. And
or if the communication is not on point, right?
Right?
If the
like
communication is not on point, especially in a hospital, right?
Certainly.
So we just even got more international, Gilbert. We now have a young lady that's visiting Tanya from Kenya.
From Kenya. Welcome. Welcome.
So we are saluting Falgona.
Falgona, welcome.
Hello, Falgona. How are you? Welcome to the Business Zone.
It's so wonderful for her to join us. We are dealing with a lot of time differences here. So Falgona can actually project us into the future, because she's practically in a Saturday at this point. And so just share with everyone that, hey, tomorrow's a great day. Falgona is here with us to tell us that.
I love it.
Wow.
Now,
welcome, Falgona.
Now tell me this, Tanya. So in your business, as you deal with communication, do you write materials such as what do you call it? Press conferences, press releases, or do you just put communication materials together so teams can work more effectively together?
That's a great question. Thank you so much, Gilbert, for asking, because you're right. Communication is so vast. The area lies in, because there I'm giving a shout out to the copywriters. There are a multitude of them. They are highly skilled. And so I felt that marker where I felt there
Yes.
was a need was in the strategy, in the
Mhm.
approach, in the intention, and the before writing anything out, what is the reflection that is going on in these organizations to create that fabulous content? Because sometimes
Mhm.
after doing, pardon me, some research earlier this year, not every enterprise is releasing content that seemed like it had, a thought had been applied to it. And so
Yes.
that's where I come in. The strategy, making
Mhm.
sure we've got a game plan for the
Mhm.
execution that's to come afterwards.
Mhm.
Because what's the point of implementing these social media campaigns and these blog posts if there's not, like, as Crystal was saying before, that why behind
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. Yeah.
If I'm on a bunch, let's make sure all my content is aligned with that product. I shouldn't be talking about climate change and the heat wave that we are all getting with the new fashion from the fall collection. I'm talking about a product.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, do you also write standard operating procedures for organizations?
I haven't done that yet. However, I wouldn't be opposed. What I've done so far, Gilbert, is, for example, advise a company on the structure of their pipeline management.
Uh
How are you
huh.
going to prospects? And then, if
Hmm.
you do sign that client, you onboard them. How do you
Mm.
welcome them to your organization? And ultimately, what is that overarching client experience? It's often
Mm.
like a trajectory. It's almost as if a trip within their organization, because in order to learn all these, I need to travel them myself and the business leader or the team, whomever wants to improve their process or the end customer. And so once you navigate all that, you can personalize the recommendations, the strategies, the frameworks, the processes. And, Gilbert, we're not reinventing here, because it comes down to certain fundamental areas. Sometimes the fundamentals for them to be valuable in a small organization or a larger company tweaked a little bit. I mean, we
Yeah.
all know about the infamous spaghetti sauce. Do we all eat
Yeah.
the same one? No.
No.
Adjusted to its taste, its traditions, and that's kind of my approach to communication, because I also these organizations to lose their voice because
Right.
the unique and relatable.
Mm.
Hmm. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yes.
And when we look at people trying to adjust to a post pandemic, so many companies are having that difficult time. It's like doing is foreseeing into the future, making some very critical thinking processes, right? But then I look at companies, the airlines, right? They, had no idea that after everyone's been cooped up for 3 years, that all of a sudden they're going to want to travel. Why not? All right. So
Exactly.
Absolutely.
one of the things that we were doing during the 2021 was 2020 we dealt with the lockdown. Toward the beginning and the end of 2020 into 2021, now our focus must be on what's going to happen post pandemic.
Hmm.
We have to be looking at the future. And so I think a lot of folks, big corporations especially, didn't do that. What's post pandemic look like?
Right. 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 But but what's amazing, Tanya? Crystal and I been preaching uh, preparation to be prepared for the longest time. Ever since we launched our podcast, well, actually, it was a radio show when we first launched it back in, I think, 2016. We've been preaching preparation. If you stay ready, you don't need to get ready. So that's what we've been preaching and promoting. And then the pandemic hits. And then all of a sudden, many of our clients start seeing that, oh my God, I should have been listening to them. I should have been preparing myself. Because now, when the pandemic hit and over 400,000 minority businesses go out and small businesses go out of business, then they're thinking, okay, how can I sustain myself? Well, the government, they've got grants, they've got loans, but they're asking for certain documents, which they didn't have in place. So now they're seeing why preparation is so good. And that's what you do. You help them to prepare when it comes to communication, to be more effective in their organization and also in their business. So that's just amazing.
Yeah.
That's beautifully well said, Gilbert. I couldn't have said it better myself. Communication skills.
So what's your future plans for Top Tier Consulting?
So now it's kind of in line with what we were talking about. What does this new world look like now with post-pandemic? What were big concerns? People's health, people's finances, and all of a sudden people are waking up, as Gilbert said, of, oh gosh, I really have to go and address this. So now what's next is supporting these professionals that deliver these services. We talked about and how crucial they were and still are right now, given incredible pandemic. And so for me, what I'm focusing on right now is supporting financial advisors, supporting realtors, highly solicited right now. I don't know if the California market is as hot as the Montreal market, but homes are selling like it's hotcakes.
Right. What's your average cost of homes in Montreal?
I would tell you right now we are seeing $500,000, maybe $250,000, and that might be like pocket change. But before we were circling the quarter. So you've doubled and tripled the value of homes. In the area where I am precisely, the price went up 40%.
Wow.
Yeah. We have closets for sale for $3 million.
That's what I was just gonna say. I was just gonna say that.
A 300 square foot house costs you $1.5 million.
Wow.
No,
unbelievable.
But close.
Unbelievable. Go ahead, Crystal.
In fact, our young people, I was talking to some young people, some interns that are doing some work with us when we're at Junior Achievement. And I was like, basically, if you're under the age, you got out of college, you probably not going to be living with your parents for a long time. So, because even our rents are outrageous. I don't know about your home. I mean, the homes, but how's your rents? Because our rent's about almost 40 to 50% of about 45% of one's salary here.
Yeah.
Oh my. Yeah. Okay. For us here, rent, it's more expensive to rent than it is so I have relatives that are renters, and they pay easily $400 more a month to rent than it costs me to pay the mortgage of my home.
Yes.
And so you guys were talking about managements before. The big issue with us, and if this can, again, beautiful small businesses thrive, it's putting aside, planning for the future, because the big issue for us is the cash down. People do funds in order to get that loan, in order to buy property, and so they are left to rent at a higher cost because they have the liquidity of the monthly income coming. They can pay that off, but they don't have the savings behind them to go.
Well, one of the things that we've been talking about a lot on this show, the Business Zone, Crystal and Gilbert, is the fact that many of our entrepreneurs, they've been renting a facility for years. So 20 years. They've been paying rent in their business for 20 years. And then a certain thing occur, like a pandemic, or the owner decide, hey, I don't want you here anymore. And they sell the building. Now this small business has to relocate. So if you look at the rent they've been paying for 20 years, if they could have taken that rent and purchased a building, and then with that building, we've in the U.S. we've got the SBA, Small Business Administration, who will offset their loans. They have loans. They call it a 504 loan, and that 504 loan would be funding that the SBA guarantees to a lender. That means, as a small business, if let's say the property costs 500,000, half a million, right? You can purchase that building, and then you rent out half of that building to other tenants, and then that tenant helped to pay the mortgage on your property. So you are required to occupy 51% of the building, and the tenant will occupy 49%. But the way it is set up, if you do it well, you can have that tenant paying your mortgage while you're living easy. You're not paying anything as rent. You see what I mean? So that's the thing we've been trying to promote on this show a lot to many of our entrepreneurs.
Just thinking differently, thinking out of the box. And I feel, as we've been talking about, thinking what the future looks like and how do we navigate and strategize with what we have, right? In order to increase that.
And if I can just go ahead, Crystal.
And what we're doing right here is awesome, because now we're talking to someone in a different country that we literally can do business with each other because of the fact that we can digitally connect with one another right now. That was not possible, years, 10, 15, 20 years ago. Interacting, doing international business was a lot more challenging than it is today.
So to some extent, the pandemic, it was a monster. It was a horrible thing because people died and people got displaced. But it's also a good thing because it helped a lot of us to start rethinking the entrepreneurial game. It started helping us to look at business differently, because now you and I and Crystal, we're talking now, which we probably wouldn't be talking if there wasn't a pandemic, because we would be on the air doing our radio show as we did before, and you probably would be running your business somewhere else. But look at this. The pandemic brought us together. Now we're talking about strategies, system, processes, and how we can make this work.
Absolutely. And what I appreciate with the pandemic is it made it socially acceptable and socially practiced to question everything and rethink it and really take a moment to reflect and say, is this the best idea? Is this what I want to do? Or should I do it differently? And so I think it also removed the taboo, venturing out, starting that small business, becoming an entrepreneur. It also, I think, removed a part of the fear of being an entrepreneur, because now so many people were perhaps on furlough or unfortunately completely laid off. To turn around and find a source of income. And talking, you want those multiple streams of income. And so I believe that universal feeling of we are in this together kind of made it easier for people to step out and start theirs. And I just wanted to add to what we were discussing prior, when Gilbert, having a commercial space out partially to another business owner or something of the nature. If you're taking and as we're saying, we're designing the future here. If you're a realtor, for example, your office space, however, with remote work, you sharing the space. Some of the teams at home, some is in-house, and then you kind of come to the office on different days. So you have a portion that's free, why not, through the use of networking, collaborate with a mortgage broker or an insurance
I
broker
love that.
that could occupy the rest of your space? And so right away you've got referral on, you've got a tenant that you can collaborate with and who gets your world also. And then you're creating that synergy and this community where your customers, if I come back to that experience, your customers will buy a home with you. You are onboarding them to the mortgage lender or the insurance broker, and then you are truly accompanying them through that, if we're talking about a home, that major life purchase, and then you are leaving their way.
Yes, I like that. I like that idea. See,
I like
this,
the way you think, Tanya.
yeah, this is what happened when you bring great entrepreneurial minds together. We come up with so many great solutions for small businesses. I want to put this out there for you, though, Tanya. So I have a system that I created. I developed over the years. For the last 14 years, I've been working on developing it. It's launched. It's out there. It's helping small businesses now. It's called Small Biz Pro. It's a cloud-based back office system that helps small businesses to become more organized, where all their paperwork is in one place. They can access it in 6 seconds or less. They can also do assessments on their business to see how ready they are. Business readiness assessment, loan readiness assessment, and contract readiness, even nonprofit readiness assessments. So here's what I'm going to do for you as being such a wonderful guest on our show. And I'm going to gift it to you. So I put the link in the chat. It's called www. So Crystal just popped it up on the screen. This is a homepage. It's www.smallbizpro.net/join. So when you click on that link, it will take you to the site, and you can go ahead and register and check it out. But you can walk through it. This will allow you to do it for 10 days. And if you're interested, you let me know, and I'll give you at least 2 years free to use this thing. I want to also extend this to Falgona as being one of our international listeners. Falgona, you also, if you're an entrepreneur, you have access to this system as well. So you can use it to run and manage your small business. So in the chat, there is that link, www.smallbizpro.net/join.
So it does a back office. You're able to upload all your documentation, all of the for running your business in the back office. Gilbert, you probably share and go right to it.
Yes.
Let me
So
see. I'll
I
stop
want to,
sharing. You share.
yeah, I want to go to a video real quickly to show you guys how this works. So
Okay.
let me take you there real quickly, and then I'll share it
It's
with
an
you.
awesome product that he has. It really and the client can take an assessment to find out where their compliances are and what they're lacking and whether or not they are a business ready. And then it gives them a percentage, and then it lets them know the areas that they're lacking in.
Excellent, excellent. So I'm going to share this right now so you and the world can see this amazing platform. So Crystal, you got to
Fabulous.
guide me again. You got to
So
guide me again,
go through
Crystal.
the little share screen, the second one past the video camera.
This one right here.
Uh-huh. Click it.
Okay. All right. So there, I clicked on
And
it.
then make sure you click the sound down at the very bottom so that we'll get the sound.
Yeah, I did that too. So I don't see. Oh, there we go.
There
At
we
the
go.
window.
There we go.
Is
And
that it?
now you got to select the one where no, you selected us. So you need to
Oh,
go back and select that first, just like you do on Zoom.
okay. So the entire screen. There we go. We do
And you do
share.
it. P1 should be the screen that will pop up.
Oh,
Oops.
I don't know what's going on here. What's going on?
You want to send it over to me?
Yeah, just you know what you could do? Just go to YouTube and type smallbizpro.net.
Okay.
No, no, just do Small Biz Pro in the search window for YouTube, and then
Okay.
you'll see the lady and the man on there talking about where's your paperwork.
I'll bring it up, Tanya, so everyone
I
can
love it.
see it.
And as
Yeah,
Crystal does that, I just want to thank you, Gilbert, for your wonderful generosity. I love the international expansion that Small Biz Pro is taking. That's
That's right.
fabulous. And
That,
I mean, not only moving north, but it's moving across the
to
ocean.
Kenya, to Kenya and South Africa, Nigeria.
I love it. I love it. And now the only struggle or challenge is, well, which way will it go? Will it go by the Pacific or will it go by the Atlantic? Given that it's remote, we don't need to answer that question because
it will be both. It will be both.
exactly. It's
It will
kind
be
of like firework.
bi coastal. It will be
By
bi
yeah,
I
coastal.
by
love it. I
continental
love it.
continent. So it's the one with the lady on the front that says Small Biz Pro
and
entrepreneurs and all
and
that good stuff.
the paperwork, the one about her and the
Oh,
guy.
okay. All
Yeah.
right, got it.
Okay. There you go. That's
Can't find your paperwork.
I love the
Where's your
caption,
business
Gilbert.
license? Where's your capability statement? Do you have your balance sheet? And where are your certifications? Are you even business ready? Hello, this is Larry.
What's up?
Larry is a general contractor. Small business owners like him misplace or lose their paperwork daily, or perhaps they just never had it in the first place, which ends up costing small businesses in excess of $500 million each year. 90% of bid applications or proposals submitted by small businesses get declined each year by contract providers. Meanwhile, 8 out of 10 small business borrowers are declined weekly by lenders, partly because many of these applicants don't have the required paperwork in place. Their financial ratios fall below the required threshold, or they are deemed non-compliant and not bankable. That is why Small Biz Pro, the #1 cloud-based business management, procurement, and market research assistance platform, was created to help small business owners, entrepreneurs, and nonprofits set up and manage their back office efficiently. This dynamic tool helps small businesses become more prepared and organized much better than their competitors. Now they can start winning business deals, contracts, and grants, which before was out of reach. Small Biz Pro, your paperwork is only 2 seconds away at your fingertips, accessible by using your smartphone, tablet, or a laptop to retrieve them while on the go. Small Biz Pro automatically prepares and organizes your small business or nonprofit so that your firm will become business ready, bank loan ready, certification ready, grant ready, and contract ready. Small Biz Pro, remember, if you stay ready, you don't need to get ready. What are you waiting for?
Oh yeah.
So our motto is when you take the assessment, then our goal is to turn your business no's into business yeses.
That's right. That's right. So
Yeah.
if a small business is approaching business, they're not quite sure if they're ready, if they have all the documents they need to run their business. They take this assessment, they get a score. And based on that, you got to score 100% to be ready. If you score anything less than that, then whatever is less than the no answers, those are the no's we're going to work on with you. We're going to help you to convert them into yeses. So that's what we do here at the Business Zone.
I love it, Gilbert. Say so myself. You are bringing companies to the top tier of three.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So see, this is a symbiotic relationship here, Tanya.
Right.
Exactly. I just wanted to point out, given that I am from Canada, I mentioned that the supplier programs available to the small businesses, minorities, is really readily available to us in those groups. However, if they're not prepared, again, leaving money on the table. So your tool
Yep.
is fantastic for that. Are truly empowering in a simple manner these businesses to go grab those government contracts, and if they won't, or just make that positive client impression.
Well, that's where this teaming comes into place, where top tier and the business zone will be teaming together so we can reach those small women owned and minority businesses in Canada to help them using Small Biz Pro, right?
Right,
I
exactly.
love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's awesome, awesome, and I just love the way she thinks because that's how Gilbert
Yes.
and I think. We're very futuristic, but we're also very realistic, and we use our critical thinking skills to say, okay, you here in America, one of the things, and as Gilbert mentioned, that we were very aware that our businesses were not ready. They were not business ready. They definitely weren't bank loan ready or any
Mhm.
contract ready either. And so we've been working in that space. But it was just sad that we actually, and I'm not sure what happened in Canada, but we lost about 440,000 businesses
Yeah.
as a result of they shuttered forever because they were just hanging on board by a string
Hmm.
pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
Um, and they weren't managing their back offices, they weren't managing their finances or any financial structures, and everything was kind of weak. The foundation was weak, and
Yes.
so when the pandemic came through, it just wiped them out,
Hmm.
like a little bit like a tornado or a hurricane
Yeah. Yeah.
or a tsunami actually, and they
Exactly.
That's
just were
right.
Or if you were in Canada, this massive just burying
right,
people.
exactly.
No.
So no one believes me that when I lived in Buffalo that we got snow obviously almost 9 months out of the year,
I
and
believe
literally,
you.
yeah,
I
you did
believe
because you
you,
were you
co-host.
were you were you were up in that northern
In
in
Binghamton.
Binghamton. So there was one snowstorm we received. We got, I think, and it covered. It went all the way up to our second floor windows,
Yes.
and that was
Yes.
how we had to come out the house.
Through
Was
the
come out
window.
through the window because you couldn't come out through the bottom. When my mother told us we were moving to California, I was elated. I was ecstatic. I said, "You mean I never have to put on snowsuits ever again in life?"
All
Of
you guys
course,
have to manage now is the June of gloom. That's it.
that's it. That's it. Although when I did get here, I actually start skiing, so I did don back on my snowsuit. And I've skied in Canada, but on the West Coast, Vancouver, Blackcomb, all of those areas. I absolutely love
Love it.
skiing in Canada, in Western Canada. So, but it was different because I didn't have to live in it. I didn't have to drive in it. I didn't have to
That's
work
the
in it.
difference. When you're fed up, you come back to the sun.
To
Yes.
the sun.
Yes.
But I would not have paid. Would For me, living in Buffalo and growing up in Buffalo was amazing experience. So it is who I am based upon how I grew up. But as a teenager, I was out here with the beach.
So so that diverse background, it gives us that experience to when we're launching our entrepreneurship businesses. It's like, hey, we're getting a little experience from here, there, and sprinkling it, and bam, you get this
Mhm.
amazing program that we've got here.
Exactly.
Have you been to Canada? Well, I'm sure you've been to the United States, New York on that East
Into
Coast.
California as well, and let me tell you, when it's very chill, I'm like, oh, a lot of people will move down to Florida for the winter months if they live in the
Oh, okay.
Quebec province. However, I'm like, no, we're not going south. We're going to go west to California and enjoy also the food. There's so much fresh foods over there. And I feel you guys are very progressive of where Montrealers would want to go in terms of food choices and
Oh yeah,
ideology, etc. And
I
so
hear. I hear there's a lot of Jamaicans in Montreal, so you got
there
that
are,
Jamaican
there
food going
are.
on there.
You can find Jamaican patties, Creole food. It's very multicultural. So, when
Yes.
we're talking about minority-owned businesses, there are a number in Montreal because you've got different ethnic groups
Yeah.
Yeah.
represented, different languages. I think like any great large city, you've got pockets of communities, or
Hmm.
sometimes there's like a linguistic tie amongst
Yeah.
all these individuals.
Yeah.
And so you can learn a lot if you navigate these great pockets.
Yes.
So each place has its own offering, but I definitely encourage people to visit Montreal in the summer months because, as Crystal mentioned, when you get to October, you might be surprised with some snow. In April, it's on the ground, so don't even bother.
Yeah.
And Halloween, when I lived in Buffalo, was a snowsuit with a costume over top of it.
Yes.
Every Halloween.
Halloween is like notorious for winter is coming, and then you would like prepare for. Sometimes it's snowing, sleeting, raining. It's rarely, kind of calm evening. There's always feeling to the Halloween night.
Right, exactly. That's what I remember, and I remember having snow in Buffalo all the way up to June. Sometimes it
Oh
was just
boy.
we literally had July, August, September. After that, that was it. That was our 3 months of nice weather. Right? And sometimes it didn't really come into August.
Absolutely, I hear you on that. And then you're
amazing.
like, okay, but it's in here.
Right,
That's
exactly.
amazing. So Tanya, how do people get a hold of you? How do they contact Top Tier Consulting? Is there a website, phone number, email that you want to
Absolutely.
give
So
them?
the website is indeed www.toptierconsult.ca because in Canada, there is a book a meeting link that you can access. It's a complimentary meeting with yours truly. There is a contact page if you have a specific question that you'd love for me or my team to address. You'll also find some content from the YouTube page that is Top Tier Consulting. Also, I have a caption with some videos to help those entrepreneurs kind of boost that business within 6 days. So each day, a new lesson for those different functional areas of the enterprise. And so I would love to hear from your beautiful community and take this business zone international.
All
So
right.
it's www.toptierconsult.ca, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
I just put it in the chat, folks. So
And
if
you
you want to
also have a
reach,
YouTube channel?
yes.
Correct. By the same name,
Okay.
Top
Well,
Tier
I am so happy you
Consult.
reached out to us because you're wonderful. I just absolutely love
She's
you and
phenomenal.
you are. I'm so happy that you reached out to us to be a guest on the community briefing.
Well, this isn't
Well,
going
I
to be the
gotta hand
last.
it to audience. It's your listeners that told me, hey, listen to this great podcast with Crystal and Gilbert. They take on guest speakers. You should apply. I'm like, oh, well,
Really?
so a big shout out
So
to
the
Catherine
audience,
Jimenez. She's awesome. So thank you
I
for that.
love it.
She's the one who brought us together.
I love it. I love
Yeah,
it. So
Catherine is amazing. I met I was teaching a class for the new Women's Business Center, and she was on that as a guest, and then she was so amazing. She reached out to me on LinkedIn, and we started to connect, and I did some consulting with her. And so yeah, she's amazing with her
Fabulous.
language program, her language business. So
Exactly.
just so
see,
you know, Tanya, this is not our relationship is not over because we really want to tap into those small businesses in Canada. So we want to work with you in partnership with you because you are more familiar with many of them. So what we'd like to do, the business zone, Crystal and Gilbert, working with you in concert to reach those businesses so we can share this great platform that we just did, Small Biz Pro, along with other services that Crystal provides. Because Crystal is just I call her the ninja accountant, right? She just gets in there and she does forensics on your books, and she brings results. So I would love for us to team up and help those small businesses achieve their objectives.
Absolutely. I would be delighted, as you said, Gilbert, beautiful synergy that came together today. And so we will let that beautiful momentum down. We will propulse it to continue to conquer and aid all these small businesses world.
That's right.
And it appears that it doesn't really matter whether you're in this country or any other country. The needs are the exact same.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Give it up. We're
Entrepreneurship.
all human, you know?
Yes,
Yeah.
entrepreneurship is entrepreneurship and wherever you go. So we want to make, because we even have a Falgo over there in Kenya. She is probably experiencing some of the same things over there, and maybe we can provide some solutions for her small business and many of the other small
Yeah.
businesses in her community. So Falgonia,
And
please feel free to contact us, and we can help you out too.
And I do know that when we look at small businesses today, and even if we look at the way larger organizations and corporations operate, they are already global. So for small businesses, we have to become global. And so the pathways have been opened for us, and we should definitely venture out there. It's a lot easier than it used to, as I said earlier, to be able to reach out to someone on LinkedIn or where have you, or YouTube, and say, wow, hey, what can we do? Can we do business together? So I think we have to take advantage of that and create those multiple revenue streams and relationships in other countries to expand our businesses.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And add, Crystal, the currency difference at times lucrative for those small businesses, because, for example, I'll take, if a Canadian purchases services from Australia, they actually save money, but Australians are not losing money because in their currency, it's their livelihood. We're paying them their desired rate. But for the Canadian, given that currency, they are saving by encouraging international entrepreneurs. So that's one way to also cut costs, but not compromise on quality and increase the international scope of your organization, whether it's small or large.
I like
I
that.
like it. I
like
love it.
that.
Wow, amazing. I just like the way you put words together.
You see how she thinks? I love the way she thinks.
I know.
She thinks just like an amazing entrepreneur, man. so you just entered the space when, in 2020 or 2021?
2022, imagine
Oh,
that.
2022. Look at that. Well,
Yeah.
we're gonna definitely work with you, Tanya. And what we'd like to do after this show, maybe next week or the week after, we'd like to all three of us just do a sit down and kind of see what your needs are. What is it you need from us, and then we look at what you can look at what we need from you, and we can work together, make this thing happen.
I love it. I would be delighted.
Awesome. Well, I am going to be connecting with you on LinkedIn and all of your social media, and I hope you do the same as well.
Absolutely.
Go over to the Business Zone.
And we encourage the community to connect as well. All are welcome.
All are welcome, exactly. And if you have any more Canadian colleagues that would love to be on the show, then reach out and let's see what we can make this expand this our partnerships. But yeah, because again, we brought so much value to the business world. So the show broadcasts live on as we're speaking now is on Facebook and YouTube, but afterwards I take it and I upload it to a podcast, a podcasting platform. So it goes over 15 different channels, iTunes, Google, Android, everywhere. And so it will be heard internationally, worldwide, globally.
And just so you know, Tanya, many small businesses, they rely on government contracts. So they try to do business with the government, the city, the county, the state, or federal government. But we can also do business among each other, other small businesses. So we would love to have many of our small business doing business with other small business in Canada, and vice versa, Canadian small businesses doing business with some of our businesses here.
Of course, definitely.
Well, it's been a pleasure, my dear, and I am just so thrilled that you reached out. And I hope Greg says I had 3 commerce calls, so you guys will meet. Oh, so we have a friend of ours, and he also co-hosts another podcast that I do on during the week. I do another podcast called the Community Briefing. So Greg is my co-host on that show, so he always tunes in, and he's our resident financial literacy expert. So he didn't get to join us as much. He had some client calls today, but he did say earlier that his business would not track 100% with Canadian business law, and he said he thought Quebec operated differently than other provinces. Is that true?
Well, it's the language barrier sometimes will cause some hardships for enterprises wanting to enter the market. If I can use an American example, Target, that was one, not a large challenge that they had to face, but it kind of had to do with them exiting the Canadian market so shortly after entering, because especially in Quebec, there is a law that puts French language above English, unfortunately,
Oh,
for
I
the
see.
Ah,
American
okay.
companies. And so if you have a product that you sell, you have to now in bilingual label in order to enter
Wow,
this market.
I see. So,
Oh.
It
so
can
when
be
they,
tricky for product based. However, service based might be a whole different ballpark, because if I approach you on a one-to-one basis and you speak English, you have no issue French content or not.
yeah, yeah. So maybe that was too costly for Target to do the translation and conversion in French. So that's probably why they exited, huh?
And
Because,
also, I believe the border might have been an issue, because you have to have all your paperwork. You need to be business ready and compliance
yep,
ready.
yep, yep, yep,
So
yep. That.
small businesses, take it from Target. Do not make the say did.
Now
Keep
Quebec
that
is the
money in
only
your
one.
pocket.
Toronto doesn't necessarily have that same.
No, the thing is, Quebec is truly that unique market. It's kind of like the black sheep of Canada. However, if you operate in the other provinces, even in the Maritimes, you'll do very well with English, even if Toronto, New Brunswick, they'll have the French language as well. But Quebec is the one that really has embedded language in its laws. So that's why it makes it trickier.
So,
And is it?
Greg, go ahead, Crystal.
No,
Go
that's what
ahead.
I was going to ask. So is Quebec French different than European
It
French from
is. So,
France?
a Parisian or French from France person would think that my French is subpar, because France is the first French speaking, and then Quebec was like the second nation to speak French. So there's kind of this perception that our French is not as refined, it's not as eloquent, and so that might be where that dichotomy occurs. However, I've been to France, I can be understood. They just know that I'm not from France, or because of our accent. And then I see Greg is asking if I like the infamous poutine. I think a resident of Montreal can't truly say they're Montrealer if they don't love poutine. But in my defense, it has been revolutionized quite a bit. So it's not just fries, gravy, and cheese curds. Now you can get like duck confit on there. You can make it into a pizza. And I'm thinking, what is this fusion? It's a great wink to our beautiful call today, where we are fusing cultures and countries together. So exactly, Greg said it well. Gourmet poutine.
Greg is from New York. He grew up in Brooklyn.
I'm
That's
sure
why he's
the
so familiar.
poutine has fallen to the New York State area, because with the amount of people that go to Plattsburgh, he even say, "Am I in Canada yet?" Because there's so much French language, I can't bear it. But yes.
so,
Oh,
so,
okay. So
so, Tanya. Sorry, Crystal.
that's okay.
So, go ahead,
Go ahead.
Crystal.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask Tanya if the French in Quebec is it. Are you familiar with the Jamaican patois? Right, the language patois. Are you familiar with that?
Not
Okay,
too much. However, I do know that some of the words in
patois.
even Creole, they'll mimic very well with the French, well, the
Right.
Quebec French.
Right. So I'm just wondering if the language in Quebec, since they're saying it's not authentic French, like, French. So I'm wondering if it's like a broken language, like how do you say?
Well, Creole in Louisiana, I think they use
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
broken, not refined. That's it because it
Yeah.
got intertwined with the Spanish and all that
Yeah.
when they came to Louisiana during
Yeah.
the slavery time,
Kind
and
of like a colloquial,
the
yeah, colloquial
colloquialism,
language.
right? And I would imagine the same thing is in Haiti, the same thing is
Yes.
in some
In
of
New
the islands
Orleans,
that
yeah,
were
yeah.
conquered by the French. They developed their own French
Mar-
language.
Martinique. Is that the same thing in Quebec? Is it like a broken French?
It could be like, it depends on where you travel in the area. If you go more north, more rural, they'll have expressions that in the city you kind of look at them going, "What are you talking about? Rubbers? We're not making Tupperwares here, or things of the nature." And for them, it's an expression of, "Well, this is tires," and I'm like, "But tires are tire is a
Right. Material.
material to make." So I guess the difference could be, since we do speak English, it could be a difference between like American English or North American English
Hmm.
from Britain, or from
Yeah.
even Australia. Australia, it's more
Yeah.
the accent, but in Britain, a boot is the car trunk. Well, a
Yeah.
boot
Yeah.
here is, what you were talking about before, Crystal, of those things you put on your feet when the shovel snow.
The
So
King's English versus the American English. The
so
Queen's
Tanya,
English.
how do you say you're watching the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert in Quebec French? How do you say that?
Okay,
Go ahead.
I would say, vous écoutez la avec Gilbert et Cristal.
I love
Oh,
it. I love it. We're gonna have to record you saying that so we can use it in our promotion.
Well,
Say,
that's
for
pretty
our
awesome.
international crowd, we might have
yeah,
voiceover it, and we'll ask Catherine to
yes,
do the Spanish. Would be
yes,
fabulous.
Yeah, oh, that would be
yes.
awesome. I have a girlfriend that's Cuban. She speaks a fluent Spanish. When I was in high school, before I came out here, I took the languages I took was French, which I did from middle school all the way up to when I left in high school. Couldn't get it here in Los Angeles at the school I went to, but I was very fluent in reading it. I didn't have anyone to speak it, so I didn't ever really adopt the right accent. But for a long time, I could read it, and I would read French novels because of that. What happened? What does Greg say?
Greg said she probably just cursed you out and you don't even know it.
This is our court jester over here. But yeah, for a long
Right.
time, French was something I learned, and I learned it well actually. And then when I came out here, Spanish is the predominant other language is spoken
Yeah.
in California
Absolutely.
on the west side. So I lost it, but I do watch a lot of international movies so that I can still practice it and get
Lovely.
that. Yeah, yeah.
Well, it's been such a joy having you, Tanya, on the Business Zone. This is just amazing. And before we sign out, we just want you to say it again that you are watching the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert.
Vous, la zone d'affaires avec Gilbert et Cristal.
All right. I love it. I
And
love
Greg
it.
signed off with "I speak of Brooklyn in French."
I think I might need private lessons from Greg on that Brooklyn French. I'm not familiar with that language.
Right, exactly. Tanya, you have been awesome. You are always welcome back to the Business Zone, and we
Yes.
definitely look forward to doing some stuff, some work together. I'll make sure you get a copy of the link. I'll send the link over to you, and you will also,
Sounds
and
great.
it'll be also up on our podcasting platforms as well. So please share it out with your friends. Um,
Indeed,
and tell
indeed.
them to check it out. And if anyone wants to be a guest and want to talk about their businesses here, we want to bridge that gap so that
Yes.
we're all one big global enterprise of people working together and collaborating.
I love it. I love it.
Yes, yes,
Sounds
awesome.
great.
Fagona, we want to thank you. I don't know if you're still watching. I know you're she's definitely into Saturday now.
Certainly. We have celebrated her Friday night with her.
With her.
Yes.
Yeah, that's my niece. Just before I went on air, my niece is in Cairo, so she just had a baby. So I was having conversation with her just before I went on the air today because she's there in Cairo. She's part Egyptian and Black. Yeah, so
Wonderful.
yeah, so I've had an
Excellent.
international day today.
Au revoir. That's what Greg said.
That's
Au
all you got,
revoir.
huh? That's all you got. Au revoir.
That's what he said. Au revoir. Oh, he's hilarious. He's hilarious. Well, folks, for those of you who've been tuning into the Business Zone today, you can tell we're having a blast here with our wonderful guest, Tanya Legault from Top Tier Consulting. And this is you're on the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. We're on every Friday from 3 to 4. And again, if we have a guest on the show and the guest is interesting, like Tanya is today, well, then we'll extend it until 4:30, and you guys can tune in as well. So, Crystal, you want to tell them how they can go ahead and subscribe to the
So
program?
going over to our YouTube channel, The Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert, and click that subscribe button. Guys, we want to monetize our channel, so please help us grow our numbers. And we want to bring out a merchant line of turning your business no's into yeses. So we need your support on that. So go on over to our YouTube channel, and also check us out on Facebook. So with that, guys, we are going to sign off. We're going to tell Miss Tanya it has been an amazing joy having you on the show, and we look forward to our continued relationship and having you back on the show as well. And with that, guys, we are signing off. And Mr. Gregory Sneed, thank you, Mr. Court Jester, for being who you are.
Indeed. And making us one go away.
Right, exactly. With your Brooklyn French.
And his gourmet poutine.
So we are out, guys, and we'll see you again next week at 3 o'clock, next Friday at 3. And we want to say bye to Miss Tanya and also bye to the program itself. So we're out.
All right. Bye.
As a small biz pro, I saw we roll, using procurement, program and control. As a small biz pro, I saw we grow, using procurement, program and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.